Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Facilities Management Exchange. Great to see you all here today. As ever, do us a favour, if you could like, follow and share the podcast on whatever medium you're watching it on. That's really, really important because that helps us grow, and we really want to grow with the meaningful message that we're trying to pop out to the UK marketplace about how great FM is and how great a career it is for young people entering the industry. Anyway, we've got a great show for you guys today. Today, we are discovering consultancy. We're joined by Sharlene Rhoden. Hi, Sharlene. How you doing?
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Good.
Debra Watson. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
You having a good day?
Yeah, so far.
Good stuff. And the incomparable Darien Jay. How you doing, Darien?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
Have you had a good day?
It's been a busy day.
Have you? Where have you been?
I started in Marylebone, over to Millbank, and
Really?
here for the last couple of hours.
Wow, so quite busy then. Lots of work going on?
It's crazy.
Crazy. It has been a mad start to 2026, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Has everyone experienced that?
Yeah.
Not just me?
No.
No.
It's been so busy, my cholesterol's gone up.
Can't join the dots there.
No, I know. And anyway, Debs, what about yourself? What's your day been like? And where have you been today?
Busy, been in a client site in Mayfair.
Yeah.
And then over this way. So, yeah, just busy clienting and sorting things out and setting the worlds to right.
Yeah, love the term clienting, by the way.
Clienting.
That's getting stolen. Charlene, what about yourself? What you been up to? Firstly, it was your birthday yesterday, wasn't it?
It was.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, everyone.
Did you have a good birthday?
21 again.
I did. It was chill. Yeah, definitely 21 again. Yeah. It was quite chill. I had some work to do. Consultant, you never stop working.
Yeah.
From my experience, so I had some work to do, but I did get a chance to have a spa in the evening. It was lovely.
Lovely, fantastic.
Love a spa.
Massage, all that stuff?
Not a massage, no,
No?
just a spa.
Just the spa?
Yeah.
Massage next week?
Jacuzzi, sauna.
Yeah. Well, okay. I like a massage though. Do you know something? I went and had a massage once. I went and had a sports massage. I didn't really know what it was, right? And I got on the my God, that hurt.
They're quite
like,
rough.
My calves, I swear down. I was getting beaten up. Like, it was horrible. Like, I wanted to get off the table. And she's like, oh, you're quite naughty, aren't you? And I'm like,
I suppose the key is you're meant to try and relax while they're doing it.
No, sport's different. Therapeutic, relax. Sports massage, they get right in there.
Cannot relax.
No,
No,
Yeah.
but the more you relax, the easier it is for him to unknot your muscles.
I don't know. I've never experienced anything like it. I was supposed to go back the week after I cancelled the appointment. It was too much.
Too hard.
Yeah, it's just too hard. I'm too old for that kind of rubbish now, to be fair. Anyway, guys, we're here to discover consultancy. So let's throw out a really simple question here, which I think is something that you should all be able to answer. Tell us how you got started in the world of facilities management. Should we start with you, Sharlene?
Yeah, that's great. So I started a long time. I'm not going to say when because it's my birthday yesterday, and you'll.
Don't want to be giving it away. No,
but let's say 25 plus years. So a while ago, I started in facilities management.
Yeah, so you were like -4 then.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. I fell into it sideways, like most people say.
Yeah.
I was working for a charity, and they needed someone to help with facilities. I was working on reception at the time.
Yeah.
And the facilities manager asked me to give her a hand. Done my BIFM level 1.
Oh, back in the day when it was
there
BIFM
you
as
go.
well. Yeah,
Not IWFM, it's BIFM.
Yeah. I remember the B. I used to love calling it BIFM.
Yeah,
everyone just doesn't have the same ring, does it?
British
A whiffum.
Institute of Facilities Management.
Yeah.
So started doing some bits and pieces for her, maintaining properties, and it was all done on Excel then. There was no sort of fancy systems or anything.
Yeah, no cloud-based technology to support.
There was nothing like that. I then moved to a managing agent and started doing a bit more compliance work, so health and safety. Was looking after sort of the Carnaby Street, that area.
Oh, no,
that
estate. I think I know the managing agent as well.
Yeah, possibly. So doing quite a big piece over there, and then just sort of got into it from there. Setting up all their systems.
Yeah,
never left.
been here ever since.
Never left. Went into estates and general management of big buildings, mobilising big buildings.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant. And I tell you, we'll come to how you all, took that brave step to become a consultant later on in the podcast. But Debs, what about yourself? How did you? Because there's a bit of a twang in your accent.
So I'm from Australia. I'm a proud Australian as well.
Yeah.
Even though I live here and this is my home now, I still I always support Australia in the sport. So I'm sorry, but cricket, rugby, whatever we're playing.
And that's all you've got as far as.
I've got to say that's probably pretty much it because we don't do anything on the football front really. So yeah.
I don't know. The Socceroos got better for a bit, didn't they? They weren't too bad.
Better, but you can't really beat English football. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Agree. I'm right up there.
3 lions on our chest.
Yeah. Even I've got my 3 lions shirt as well, so I'm dual citizen. So
fantastic.
So I do struggle to decide on who's winning. Just swap the shirts at the last minute if needed.
Yeah.
But so I started my career in human resources.
Yeah.
So that's where I started in Australia when I was a young whippersnipper.
I think that's the first time actually that we've had somebody that started in human resources transition to FM actually on the show. I'm sure it happens out there. It's just the first time we've had it, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so I started in HR and recognised that I just didn't really like that side of it. I liked the system side of HR more so than the actual processing of things. So then I started working on a project for a company as a HR specialist, from a functional specialist into software.
Yeah.
So it was an ERP solution. So it's an Oracle product. And then I really liked it. And it was just, I'm a very process-orientated person. So I really just thrived on it. So I decided to leave my company and become a consultant for Oracle through different agents and,
Can I ask how old you were then?
24.
That's quite brave at 24 to take on what's kind of a self-employed role.
Yeah, and I just decided that it was what I wanted to do, and it was opportunistic market, and it was good money. So I just sort of thought,
Money helps.
I'm young, and no responsibilities as such. So then I literally went from there and just started working on that for a while. Big projects, long hours, and then when I wanted to have a family, I thought, well, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I can't go. I worked all over Australia, lots of different places in the world, doing different pieces of work, and I just decided, well, I can't do that anymore. I need to switch things around. And my husband works in FM as well, so I already had known lots about FM. So I'm never one that says I fell into FM because I already knew what I was getting into. So I sort of chose that route. But what I've done is I've taken my change management, which I learnt through HR and then working through ERP projects as a consultant. I do the change piece, and to me, I think that transitions to any industry. It doesn't matter whether it's FM or finance or wherever. Everyone has change and transformation. So
I don't disagree.
And so that's for me where I sort of linked into FM and started looking at different sorts of things within FM. And then about 15 years ago, I set up a consultancy company in the UK, and then just grown through, we have some big clients, but we're only a small boutique company. But we're very specialised in what we do. So I sort of, and I love FM. I think it's a fantastic industry. Every day is a different day. And
that's true.
Drama on one front, praise on the other. And, there's just lots of different things, lots of different clients. So it's not industry specific, FM is, but you can work in manufacturing, you can work in hospitals, you can work in banking, you can work in high-end retail. It's across everything, and that's what makes it really, really interesting to work in.
I don't disagree. Okay. Yeah. And Darien, what about yourself? Good sir.
Because I couldn't find a proper job, Mark. I started.
Mum forced me into
almost. It was my first real job out of school. So I was at uni, and part of my degree I needed a placement year.
Right.
And I didn't know what to do. I was like 20 or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? I didn't even know what FM was really.
Yeah.
But my father had worked in FM, and when I got quite desperate, asked him, and he suggested I speak to someone. And long story short, I ended up as an undergrad at Balfour Beatty in their FM company,
right,
which has gone through a few iterations, but it's now Equans,
Yeah, Equans it is. Yeah, that's correct.
But at the time, it was Balfour Beatty, and they put me in a really cushy role where it was like risk management, but it really meant making sure all the FMs told HQ about what risks are on their site so they could monitor it. So I got to swan around the country training people on this software with very limited exposure to actual risk. But I obviously did enough of a good job where they said they'll pay me to come back, pay for my final year if I came back afterwards as a grad.
Oh, so they paid for your final year at university?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
This was back in the day when it wasn't like 40 grand a year.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't value me that much.
Much more affordable. Yeah. Could write it off
When
on
I
the
was young, it
expenses.
was free, I think. You just had to pay for your accommodation, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I did that, and this was around the time of the first, like the financial crash, like so 08, 09 time.
Yeah.
And by the time I finished my degree, the company said, "Oh, we might have to delay the grad scheme."
Oh, no way.
Shit, okay. Luckily, I had some connections in the company by that point, so I made some calls and they found me a role like demobilising a contract effectively,
Right.
which was a temp role. From that, I managed to wheedle myself into procurement.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, the grad scheme's starting up.
Right.
How about you do your first 6 months in procurement, in supply chain?"
Yeah.
Fine. So they shipped me off to London, and I did that for 6 months. And then I remember going to my boss saying, "It's been really great, thanks, but I'm about to shoot off somewhere else now." And that was the moment I sold my soul to FM procurement. I remember he said, "Can you stay here?" I said, "Not really."
Yeah.
He said, "No, but could you if you really wanted to?" Well, depends what they look like.
Yeah.
And yeah, ultimately he said extra $5,000 in the company car.
Yeah.
And I think I was like 22, 23 at the time. And then, so I came off the grad scheme after 6 months and never really left FM procurement after that.
What was the company car, Darien, out of interest?
It was a BMW 1 Series.
Yeah.
That's not bad, is it? You know,
That's all right.
that would have impressed the girls and all that stuff, which is always good. To be fair. So, Darien? What keeps you in it? Because obviously you've progressed during that period as well.
Yeah.
So, I'd like everybody to have a chat about this. What keeps us in this industry? Because it's quite dynamic. It's quite an interesting one.
That's the money. No.
Yeah. I appreciate the honesty.
It's a really interesting question, and I think my reasons have evolved over time.
Yeah.
Initially, there was always something to learn. There was always an extra function or angle part of FM to get used to figure out how it works. These days, I get much more enjoyment out of running the company than perhaps doing the do, because I've been doing it for 20 years or something.
Yeah.
You know, still get involved when I need to, but it's going out, meeting people, finding new business, doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what, gets me excited.
So the engagement is more for you these days in terms of putting the business out there. And what about yourself, Debra?
I like to define myself as a problem solver. So I like going into sites where it's really broken or they just can't work through how to find the end solution. So, and I like that. I like that challenge for me. The money in the industry is good. You get paid well.
This is it's very important to say that as well for young people that may be considering a career.
You have a different skill set as a consultant to a normal average FM worker as such. So you have to be on your A game all the time. So I like the problem solving, going in, trying to find a solution. And as I said before, as I'm process orientated, I think, well, if we're doing it in 8 steps, how can I get it done in 5? And can you only touch it once? Why are you touching it 5 times? I like to work through those types of issues in FM. And does it need procurement? If it doesn't need procurement, if you've got a contract, how can we fix it? How can we improve it? And it's about that relationship and fairness to a supplier from a client's perspective, because sometimes a client will say, oh, the supplier's not doing A, B, C, D. But I thought, well, it's not in their contract. So you've got to make it fair and reasonable for both. So it's just that problem solving for me is a real important part, because every contract that you work on or every client you go to, it's similar because it's an FM type environment, but it lends itself to different buildings have different types of issues.
Yep.
Different industries have different types of issues. So it's just trying to work through all of those. And it's just interesting. Every day is, like I say, it's a different day.
So 2 different responses. Charlene, what about yourself? What keeps you engaged? What keeps you going day after day?
Well, I was going to say, similar to Debra, I don't like a problem, but I don't mind getting stuck in when there is a problem.
Yeah.
I do like a bit of problem solving. The industry's just changing so much due to legislation, due to sort of the way the country's being run. COVID had a massive effect on sort of occupancy in buildings. We had to get really creative with how we were sort of bringing people back into the buildings and into to London and other cities. So I mean, even that, it's just so creative and so interesting. There's so much to be done, and I really enjoy building relationships. So you meet so many different interesting people. All the different sort of everyone who provides a service into the building. Has got so much to offer, so much insight, and I really enjoy sometimes when you're dealing with something and someone who's completely kind of not involved in it, but will just say, actually, have you thought about doing it like this? Because I sit here and I see this every day, and so I just find it really, really interesting. So I mean, I love FM. I absolutely love it. I thought a few times, I may go off and do something else, but actually, no, my heart is here.
Yeah,
I've recently read more to compliance because I find it quite interesting, post-Grenfell.
Hang on, you find compliance interesting?
I do, actually, I do. I think in my older years...
I think we found a rare bird here. What's going on? Compliance?
Well, yeah, in my older years, I guess it's... safety's a big thing,
I agree. Yeah.
And, I've got a family and I've got other responsibilities outside of my business, and I want to make sure that we're doing things as safely as possible so that everyone could be comfortable when they're using public spaces and buildings. So I mean, I find it quite fascinating. So that's a whole new angle that I've recently sort of really gone into and really been looking at is compliance, and find it very, very interesting. But FM.
And how do you guys as consultants, because obviously you're not backed by a large monolithic organisation in the same way other elements of FM are, how do you guys stay abreast of market changes? How do you keep your finger on the pulse? What do you do that's perhaps different to other people in the industry?
Well, I'm connected to quite a few people in the industry. Sort of I have a lot of forums and sort of meet up with people, still go to people's buildings, see what's going on in different buildings, see what people are doing. And then also I do a lot of research, do a lot of reading, go to forums and events where sort of industry standards, sort of FM shows and security shows and bits like that. And then podcasts, they're great now as well.
Do you know any good ones?
Yeah, there's one or two.
Yeah,
there's one or two.
There's a great one. It's relatively new on the market. But it's great guns. It's going great guns.
Yeah, I've heard that one as like great guests.
Yeah, fantastic guests. Fantastic guests.
They're great ones.
Industry leading.
And perhaps one that may not be invited back.
But I think it's right. You have to stay abreast of what's happening in the industry, because as a consultant, like I said, you have to be on your A game all the time, and you have to be almost at one step in front, because people look to you to advise and give information. So you do have to do a lot of reading, know what's going on with standards, legislation, who are the new players in the market, what are the bad stories that you hear, and so you think, well, have I got any clients that are using those services if a company's in a bit of trouble? Those type of things, I think you just have to stay ahead of the market, and it is about information. And there are some great sources of FM magazines out there, like you say, some podcasts. Besides this one, I don't know what other ones are out there, but
right answer.
Yeah, but I just think it's the reading and going to different conferences and just speaking with people, because it's FM is about relationships and building those
Very true.
relationships with other people. You know, if you're looking for a specific service and you think, oh, I can go through my LinkedIn profile and think I've got 5 of those types of people, I can reach out to them and give me this type of information, you know, and it's about building those relationships so that you can build the trust with those people, and then think when you need them, you can call in them to come and help you to deliver what it is you need to deliver on your client sites or whatever. So it's staying that, you know, at the sharp end of information and being able to give that back to your clients, because, you know, they're expecting you to know that stuff. You know, they want you to know it. That's why you outsource to a consultant in the first place, because you don't have the in-house knowledge or time.
Yeah, what's quite interesting, I mean, Darren, you probably know this, that can be a challenge, can't it? Because, you know, when you work for a larger beast, you get that kind of fed down through information and newsletters and colleagues, I've used this piece of kit and things like that. So that's a challenge, isn't it?
Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
To borrow a quote from a film, I think the art of good consultancy is being a good middleman.
Yeah.
Middle person. Anyway, we as consultants, we're uniquely placed to have exposure to client and supplier side.
Yeah.
And
very true.
Whilst a lot of our clients have some really useful insights and ways they want to develop their contracts, I find a lot of the good ideas, new ways of working, new innovations come from supplier side.
Yeah.
Especially from the BD team, who need to innovate to be relevant and to win business, which is why I really make effort to meet with likes of yourself and other people in BD roles throughout the FM sector on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah.
So we can chew the fat, so we can find out what's going on in sector specific, whether it's cleaning, security, maintenance.
Yeah.
And then we can sound really clever when we go back to our clients and pretend that these are all our ideas. But,
well,
but
some of them are, aren't they?
Yeah.
You want to think some of them are your own ideas.
Maybe we reshape them.
That is quite an interesting approach, though. You know, to actually you know, leverage what BD teams do and who they speak to and things like that, and then, because you are correct, actually, they do, I suppose, Nick, because we're talking about it 24/7, I suppose, in our respective lines of inquiry, I suppose.
And I think a lot of my role is consolidating those good ideas as new ways of thinking, understanding which players are in the market are doing a good job for other clients who are similar to my clients, and then framing that and sending it back to the client saying, okay, I think this is suitable for you, this is a good idea, what do you think?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll tell me to bugger off, and sometimes they think they like it, and we'll build it from there. But
of course.
I'm not going to pretend that I come to the table with a whole bag of fresh ideas that I've come up with myself every single time.
Yeah.
Occasionally it happens, but you know, it's leveraging the network around us, I find.
Yeah. But then once again, that just boils down to that community, about having that network, those people that you can lean on, ask questions to.
Absolutely.
Because none of us have an answer for every question. We all need to lean on someone from time to time. And I guess if you know, if you are a young individual looking to move into the industry, and I think we do need to talk about networking, guys, and how important that is. How has networking impacted your careers over the years?
Oh, wow. There's been so many people that have been sort of sponsors for me who I haven't even known you know, I've told them what I'm doing, and they've gone out there and they've gone to other people and gone, Charlene's doing this, you know, let's get her on board to help with this project, or let's get, you know, it's so important. Sometimes you think, oh no, I'll just stay in my own little bubble and just, you know, weasel away at what I'm working on and not say anything. But actually, you need to get out there. You need to speak to people. You need to let people know what you're doing. Podcasts, things like this, you know, actually be quite public about what you're doing to the industry, so that when people need your services, they know where you are and they're able to connect with you. It's so important.
I think Charlene's spot on there. I think you can't separate networking and sales, and people pretend that they're not the same thing, but they really are. Whether you're selling your company, your brand, or yourself as an individual, networking is the best way of doing it in our sector, I would say. And that's just getting exposure. If you're coming into this sector age 18, 20 with no network to speak of, the best place to start is meeting people for coffees, going to events, building your personal brand, learning from others, taking all their good ideas and their ways of thinking to deciding which is the right route for you.
Yeah, well, people buy from people, and I think that that's incredibly true. They're more likely to buy from people that have a great service or product behind them, or a great element of knowledge, and so. But that fundamental piece is that they need to like you first. They want to think, I can work with this person, and what's the best way to do that? It is to go to networking events and put yourself about a bit. That's the way to do it. What networking in the industry would you guys recommend, or what has worked for you?
I
what
went
groups?
to Space, what was sort of property. It covers all different sort of sectors, so
I've not come
residential,
across that one,
commercial.
actually.
Yeah, it was in Lord's Cricket Ground.
Oh, really?
And I went a couple of weeks ago. It was really, really good event because
Was
what
it?
I liked about it wasn't just a speaker at the front; it was actually round table.
Ah.
So actually, you got to speak with. There was people from sort of different areas of FM.
Yeah.
Quite senior.
Right.
And you got to sit in a room, speak to them about their experiences, went to some on AI and different things. And, what are you doing within your industry? What sort of boundaries have you got up with sort of managing AI and different bits? And it was good to be able to just have an open discussion in a more relaxed forum rather than it being someone just speaking at you. You was able to actually talk and have a round table discussion. That's the first time I've attended that event.
Really?
It's got quite a high price point, so
Right.
I was lucky enough to be able to get an invite to that event.
Check it out first, don't
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely think it's one of the better ones, and it's a shame really it's not more accessible. I would say for more junior FMs, because I think that would be fantastic for them to be in a room with more experienced people in the industry.
Yeah,
that's what
people
I
that
found.
have that capability so
Absolutely.
that they can learn from and things like that.
Absolutely.
That's really interesting. I've not come across that before. What about you guys? Anything?
I do a lot of just like the FM type stuff that you have industry-wise, where you'll have stuff at the Excel and workplace and things like that. I think when you can go to, whether it's health or NHS type environments, those type of things, you just can pull different things and meet different types of people. So you've got all levels of FM. You'll have FM managers, but then you'll have directors of estates that have, a £60 million budget that you will get to have a chat with, and his issues are very different to the young person who's at the bottom there. And also some of the European ones are quite interesting because how they manage their FM is slightly different to us, and their take on young people is very different to how we are in the UK as well.
Explain that. How do you mean?
So last year, was it this year? Trondheim. It was. I think it was at the back end of last year. The Euro FM conference. I couldn't believe how many young people that were there. There was from different universities. So I think they don't pay for their ticket because it's a paid function.
Right.
So I think they get invited to go. And they had a workshop themselves. So there was about 20 students and they were given a task and they had 2 days to go away and present, and then on the last day of the conference they had to stand up and present and all of the findings that they had from their category that they had to go and research. And
Really?
it was just interesting for the acceptance of young people and the opportunity for young people to be in those environments where, and at the end of the conference they said every time you go to a conference take a young person with you, and I think that the same. I have 2 daughters and they both work in FM. So any opportunity that there is for a conference, one daughter works for me and the other one works for another company, but I try and get them both to come to functions so that they can network, so they can understand and meet people and from different levels, because it's not, they just know consultancy from me because they've grown up in FM. They're like I always think they're like the babies of FM, like the whole family is in FM. So it's a very interesting Sunday night meal.
That is quite, it's quite interesting.
We talk about compliance and things like this and new legislation. And it's like, can you pass the gravy? And it's like, so it's a very, even one of my daughters' partner is a building services engineer, so it's just growing in FM. But it's for me, I love it. I love watching young people have an opportunity to actually meet senior people, and where senior people think, oh, they're interesting. Let's embrace them, because let's face it, it's an old industry now, and people are getting older and older, and there's just such a shortage of. I don't think it's a shortage of people, young people. It's the opportunity for them to actually move into the roles. There's lots of apprenticeships for trade, but where's the apprenticeships for, like an FM graduate? Like, how do they get into it, and how do they actually get exposed to all of those areas that we know as consultants in FM? And that's what the bigger companies need to look at, is how do we get those people? Because there's loads of students, all qualified, they're all finished, but they don't have that stepping stone into the organisations.
Especially operational FM.
Yeah.
There's not any clear sort of guidelines of how you can get in through an apprenticeship or anything like that. The surveying side, yes, that's always been there, and it's getting more accessible. But there's the FM side, like sort of working in buildings.
It's about taking a chance for young people as well, because you can't expect a young person to come on board and, you've got no experience, but I'm just brand new. I don't have any experience. I need the experience. Can someone please give me the experience? Yeah. But it's taking the time, because when you're functioning as a consultant or whatever role you are in FM, it's very difficult to slow down and spend time teaching someone when you think, I can do it in 10 minutes. Why do I want to spend 2 hours teaching you how to do it when I need to do it in 10 minutes? Yeah. It's trying to get the older people within FM, or the established people, to give some time back to educate those young people so that they have the opportunity to come through. So
I mean, we spoke about this quite a bit on the podcast. And the last podcast that we recorded, we actually had an individual on that was looking to move into the market in the UK, because they came from Nigeria. But what she was saying is that in Nigeria, they actually have specific educational platforms in high school that focus on FM, and the careers advisors will talk about it, and so on and so forth, which to me shows a real lack of the education system in the UK to perhaps do something similar, because nobody has that conversation. I don't think. You're either a nurse or a doctor or whatever, but like people and I think as well there's a massive misconception about the industry in terms of what you can earn, what you can't earn, what type of roles are available. Everybody has this, well, it's a janitor, isn't it? No, it's not a janitor. There's so many varied roles across the industry. So, what we're trying to do with FMX is actually create a space for young people to actually go, hang on a second, he owns a business and he operates in FM. So does she. Can I do that? Do you know what I mean? That's the whole point of it. But it should start in schools and colleges and education. Because I think the average age in FM right now is around 50 plus. That's the average age across the industry. So
that's not us.
No, not you guys. No. It's me and Darien. But it is a concern.
Quite telling, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and as well, like engineers apparently is even worse. So we did a show on engineering once again. I don't want to hark back, but the show that we did on engineering, the guys that came on were very, very concerned about the engineers coming through the system, because, like they said, they see all these buildings going up in London, and they're like, there will literally be no engineers to run those buildings in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
Because there just won't be. So how do we fix it? Darien, what's your plan?
Just use AI.
AI?
Yeah. Solve everything, won't we? I don't have the answer to that. It's a very expansive question.
It is, yeah.
I think one of the things that I really like about the FM sector, and our business has kind of morphed away from pure FM, so I'd say probably 30-40% of our business is completely separate from that now. But one thing I like about FM is very meritocratic from my experience. If someone's good and they've got common sense, then they can be promoted quickly and into pretty senior roles. And maybe this is a slightly controversial opinion, but I've never been a big advocate of formal FM degrees or training, because I still think it's mostly a common sense game. Yeah. If you've got a bit of nous about you, you can learn, like most of us did, I'm sure, how cleaning contract operates at a certain level, or how an M&E, not have to be an engineer to be able to tender an M&E contract, thankfully,
Yeah.
because I would be out of business.
Common sense is not very common, is it?
Well,
yeah.
No, this is true.
It's on the decline. Yeah, it is on the decline, isn't it? Yeah.
But to replace, skill sets like engineering, that's a whole different challenge, and you do need to be qualified, capable, skilled. I guess it's a matter of how do we appeal to the next generation that this is an exciting sector, an exciting place to work. Part of that is by shouting about the buildings that you can work in.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do it for a while because we haven't worked in that for a while, but I used to talk about 20 Fenchurch Street, the walkie-talkie. That's one that we procured when it was Greenfield.
Right.
It's a great building. Every time we go into London, I worked on that building.
Yeah.
And we did the same with Battersea and I'm name dropping now, King's Cross. But it's just to say you've been a small part of these huge buildings.
Yeah.
If you're an engineer and you get to work in them, on them every day, every week, that's a great place rather than being a plumber doing resi or something, some guy's house every day.
Yeah.
That's quite, I would imagine that's quite exciting for someone who's 18 thinking about where I want to be.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't think we shout about that glamorous side of FM perhaps enough.
Well, that's about the messaging, isn't it? And also, where's the messaging going? Is the messaging going in the right directions, or is it going in the wrong direction? You know, because I think because we've had people on the show as well that also talked about over promotion. Have you guys come across that before? Whereby individuals across the industry that perhaps aren't as qualified as they should be are getting over promoted because they don't want to lose them to somebody else, and that's a direct contribution of the shortage across the industry of skilled people as people retire. How is that something you guys come across in your daily? Yeah,
Big time.
Yeah,
and
a
what's
lot,
your view on that?
a lot. Yeah, you do see. I see it where you have someone who gets promoted off the tools into the office, and then all of a sudden they're 4 layers up, and you think they don't know anything about management, just basic things that you think they don't understand how contracts are put together. They don't understand KPIs, service level agreements, the whole process around that. So it is sometimes that over promotion where, at the bottom level, they're fantastic. At the top level, they're brilliant because they have the insight and the vision. But that middle management sometimes is lacking credibility in some areas. So it is a bit controversial, but you do meet some great ones.
Oh, yeah.
But equally, you'll meet some people that you think you're just so over promoted that you haven't got the foundation block to actually build upon because the foundation isn't there.
We've all seen it, I'm sure, where you see a head of FM. How would they end up there? Oh, they were a receptionist and then got put in as office manager because the company grew quickly and we need an office manager.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they got 5 more offices. Oh, we'll just put that person as head of FM.
Yeah.
And some of them are great, absolutely, and some of them aren't. But talk about over promotion. It's because they can't find someone easily to replace that role. And all of a sudden that person there is on big money.
Yeah.
Probably well underqualified for the role, but there's a skills shortage.
Yeah.
Just there aren't enough, especially building managers or whatever you want to call them. A massive shortage of good quality building managers out there.
Yeah, but isn't that where the meritocracy of the industry is sometimes detrimental to the industry in a way?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's a catch-22, really.
Yeah. Because you do see. Let me explain what I mean by that. So you will see it sometimes where it's a badge of honour within an organisation to say this individual started as an X and then they became a Y and then they became a Z. But then sometimes it's great to go X, Y, Z. However, if you don't put within those layers the required training, development and resource to give those individuals the skills, then it can become a challenge. And if anything, what we're doing is kind of setting people up to fail. But once again, who's responsible for that? Is it the company that's promoted them, or is it the individual that should be responsible for seeking out that development themselves?
Yeah, it's a
What do you
bit
think?
of both, isn't it? It's definitely a bit of both. It's great when companies can promote from within.
No, I don't disagree with that.
But it's not always appropriate.
No.
So,
I suppose if companies have that, like redundant pool of people, like their job's been made redundant over there and you're on a level 4 and, oh, look, there's a role over here that's a level 4 and you think, yeah, but I was a nurse over there and now I'm head of FM over there. It's like, it's the same level, it's the same money.
Yeah.
We'll just move you over there. So you do see that a little bit.
You'll be fine in 3 weeks, Phyllis. Don't worry.
But it comes back to that foundation of understanding about FM. I mean, I do get about the training for FM and, there's certain things I think you do need to know how contracts are structured.
Yeah,
you
agreed.
do need to know basic information about building services.
Yes.
You need to think about the strategy, like what maintenance strategy are we running? Are we SFG 20 or are we SIPSI or what? That even that foundation. You don't need to be an engineer, but you need to understand that foundation block to build upon.
Well, there are real world repercussions where things can go. Going back to what you said earlier about compliance and safety,
Absolutely,
Sharlene. When something goes wrong in that kind of environment, then the waves associated with it. Let's say if there's a death, for example, or somebody becomes incredibly ill and the right line worker systems aren't in place. So there's real world consequences to not making the right decision, isn't there? So and the industry as well. It's not it's a little bit regulated, isn't it? It's not regulated in the same way perhaps other industries are. Do you think regulation? And I hate saying regulation because I'm very anti-regulation, but do you think regulation is something that could support that? Would that create inward investment from businesses, or do you think it would kill business? How do you? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know the answer at all. I just think you guys are smarter than I am.
Well, I think there's regulation around compliance and health and safety, and there's fire, water, all of those type of things. But to call yourself a facilities manager, you don't. It's not like you're a gas plumber where you've got to do your test.
Yeah.
It's like, well, anyone could be a facilities manager. You just put it on your piece of paper and go, yeah, I'm a facilities manager. There's no test that you have to do to show that it can be one. So it's not regulated in that, like you can't practice law. Like you have to be a lawyer and you have to go and do a bar test. There's nothing like that.
But on the continent in Europe and that, it is, isn't it? It is actually isn't it? I'm sure it is, isn't it? Am I right saying that?
I'm not aware of that.
We're not
Or
aware of that.
have I seen something you guys haven't?
Yeah, maybe you got privy to some extra information we haven't got.
Maybe it's held in higher regard in the continent, so it's invested in slightly differently. Maybe that's where I'm getting confused. I don't know. I think it would it help the industry, do you think, to have? I mean, what do you think, Sharlene? Like
yeah, definitely. I mean, I took the route, as I said, I came through managing agents.
Yeah.
And that was a good route because they do have, lines of courses and things that you have to do in order for you to move to the next level. So you have to do your, let's say, you don't have to do your NEBOSH, but you have to do your IOSH.
Yes.
To be able to manage the health and safety in a building. Yeah. You have to be able to learn about service charges and be confident knowing your service charges. You have to do your IWFM. I was doing my BIFM then, but you have to do your IWFM. So there's certain things that I think managing agents are pretty good at putting in place to make sure that there's some sort of safety guardrails around the people that are being employed and their knowledge and their capabilities. Yeah. You also obviously have your appraisals and other sort of ways of them checking your competence throughout the year. So I think that is a good way. But it's when them things are sort of missed, I think that's where you're going to get all if there's budget restraints or, you've got a change of management, several changes of management, then those things could be missed. Or you go for promotion and the person just says, yeah, actually, you'll be fine. You're learning the job. Yeah. And that person's not actually capable of doing the job. That's where you're going to get, some problems. But if you just go to sort of independently manage a building, maybe not with a managing agent or with a bigger sort of establishment, they may not have that in place because they may only have 1 or 2 FMs and there's not sort of a benchmark and a sort of process for what their facilities managers have to do in order to be a facilities manager. So if you go in for a managing agent, let's say, you usually go in as an assistant facilities manager, where your responsibility is less, and then it grows during the time you're there, and you're learning all of that, and you've got your engineers there, and you've got maybe, you know, reception, security, and you're learning about SFG 20 and about contracts and about, you know, different things about cleaning contracts. You're learning about people, you're learning about budgets, and you're learning about sort of health and safety, like everything that encompasses sort of facilities management.
Yeah, and that to me, I mean, I asked those series of questions for a reason, because that basically says to me that, you know, you've got that in-house outsource model. Yeah. If you want to go in-house, then the reality is, to make sure that you're compliant and accurate, then you need a good consultant, don't you? To be fair, you need that level of support that can guide you through what is, I guess, that minefield where things could go wrong.
You need a good consultant regardless, Mark.
Yeah.
No, joking aside, absolutely. If you're an in-house model, there's a degree where you become so insular that you lose track of what's going on in the industry, whether it's regulation or innovation, but also outsource models. We see it time and time again where the contractor runs rings around the client because they are more on their game, they're more driven by profit, whatever it might be, and the client doesn't have the time or the expertise to control them. And that's where, hopefully, likes of us add value, is that we can be that trusted partner, that middleman, to say, hang on, this doesn't quite work. Or sometimes, no, actually, client, this supplier is actually right here, or this is a fair deal for you. You might not feel like it's fair, but
it is.
But it is.
Yeah.
So
it's pulling on that market experience that
absolutely.
we talked about. That you have to be abreast of all of that to think it is right. Dip test and think, that is right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So quite a fine line, really, then.
It is,
It is.
Because you're not just looking at cost or, you know, certain factors. You're looking at value, really, and what makes sense for their business. And so that's how you present it. And then it's ultimately up to the client as to whether they choose to buy it or not. So
And how do you guys keep your clients engaged then? Because I think that for me would be a challenge for that, in that sort of consultancy space.
I think it's about adding value. I think if your clients feel you're adding value to them and you're bringing innovation, different ways of working, and lifting them up, raising the bar as such, I think they'll always come back to you. So, you know, if you advertise for consultancy, or whether all of your work comes from word of mouth, mine comes from word of mouth. I do a good job on one client site, and then, you know, lo and behold, someone will be talking, and then they'll networking, and then they'll go, oh yeah, we use this company, and then all of a sudden you get the call up, and then you go, and it's about, for me, it's about adding the value and always sharing knowledge so that the client becomes smarter. They become a smart client. So rather than being dumbed down by suppliers, where suppliers, like you say, run rings around them, it's about bringing the client up and giving them the smarts to be able to look at things and learn and think, hang on, that doesn't feel right over there. I need to, you know, to me, it's about adding that value and teaching them along the way so that they learn and then rise up. So adding the value.
Yeah, I had a really interesting conversation today, actually, with a previous client of mine, now a friend, and he's talking to me about service charge budgets, and how he felt that the industry and people that operated in the industry perhaps really struggled with how to adequately or accurately manage a service charge budget. Is that something you guys have experienced in the industry? I'm asking because I don't do that, so I don't know the answer. I just thought it was an interesting thing to say.
Not necessarily.
No.
No. Not experienced FMs. You would know how to manage your budget. But, I mean, time to time people may have queries or issues, or may not be able to manage their budget adequately because of other restraints within the business, or that kind of thing.
I'd say I agree with Sharlene completely. One issue we have seen, this is all post-COVID, is service charge budgets are getting hacked down.
Yes.
There's been up until 2019, it was a race to the top in terms of quality when we were procuring services, especially in London. And ever since post-COVID, we've struggled to get out of that. This is a cost-based exercise.
Yeah.
Clients can dress it up and say it's not cost-based, but you can see how much more finances play a key role in decision-making these days.
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of our clients, I suspect, are management companies or corporate landlords, and they have service charge budgets that they need to adhere to, but they're under pressure to keep those to a minimum to retain their tenants, and that gets pushed down to the likes of the supply chain, and we have to come to you and say, okay, this is the current spend. You need to find 10% reduction on this, and then service standards drop, and it becomes a vicious circle.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I see that in my end. I mean, obviously, I work within the cleaning sector, so you would have thought post-COVID, it would have been one of those industries whereby that was kind of insulated from it because of what COVID was. You know, people for the first time ever saw the value that I guess a cleaning company or a cleaning operative can deliver. But yeah, you are very correct. You know, we see that across our business, so it's crazy.
It's about the change, and for me, that's where I like the change that I've learned from years of consulting. It's about transforming where you do have those cost restraints, but then you have to go in and you have to work with the client and the supplier to think, well, okay, we used to have the gold service, now we can only afford the silver service, but what's important to the business? You know, how can we slightly change things so that the average person in the office can come in and say, it still feels clean.
Yes.
You know, but we don't clean the windows every day now. We only clean them once a week. So it's about that transformation of change and trying to get both parties to accept that we have to change for financial reasons, but what's important to the client is sometimes different to what's important to the supplier, and then trying to meet halfway so that you get that better fit there.
Yeah,
I agree. I think as a consultant, you need to be flexible because your client may change their sort of agenda at any time, you know, their business model, and you need to be able to work with them in terms of achieving what they, you know, need to achieve. So, and you need to be creative and you need to think outside the box. And yeah, it's not always straightforward, and sometimes you can see you have a bit of foresight because you've been there and you've done other projects, and you can see, you know, what's likely to work, what's not. But you know, no one wants to fail, so you need to make sure that you are putting in the right measures so that the client's supported and feels happy with the decisions you're making. And, you know, even though sometimes it's not what you would have chosen initially, but you're part of a bigger agenda. So
of course,
it's about being really flexible as a consultant.
I mean, that kind of takes us quite nicely onto things like automation, AI, technology, how that may well drive costs down, I suppose. I have this conversation with a lot of people, you know, like whilst when you manage a building, there is a lot of people associated with it. You know, do you think that those roles may subside over a period of time as a direct result of AI, automation, and potentially robotics?
Yes.
Yes?
I think if there's one good thing that's come out of the COVID pandemic is that it's forced clients to look at innovation technology as a way of driving down cost. And I think, let's face it is not sustainable to have a massive headcount of security officers, cleaners, that level of operative on contracts where you're struggling to run it at a profit. So we need to think about new ways of delivering these services. It's incumbent on not only the client side, but particularly on the supplier side, to come to the table and say, actually, for this building, you don't need 27 cleaners. I think we can do it with 18, plus some robots, plus a new way of doing the structure and the shift patterns. It's going to happen. We can fight redundancies or all that, whatever you want to call it, as much as you want. The most forward-thinking clients will get on board with this quickest, and they will make the most money, will save the most money. It's inevitable. We may as well all accept that some level of technology innovation is going to replace blue-collar jobs. Let's embrace it. Let's see how we can add value, do it the right way. If we can implement it slowly enough, then we'll be replacing people who've left rather than making people redundant. and will drive the whole sector forward.
Okay.
Well,
Do you, what do you
that
guys
kind
think?
of it addresses the issue about engineers. Like
Yeah.
when you think all the new buildings, but the smart technology that is in a building, where it's all almost preempted that something's going to fail now because it's all monitored, so that you can see alarms going off, thinking, oh, that chiller's going to break down, or
Yeah.
the refrigerator's going to turn off, or whatever. It's all monitored so heavily now that instead of having 4 engineers in their vans driving around, someone's
Yeah.
sitting at a desk now thinking, oh, this is about to fall over, let's just send 1 engineer now because
Yeah.
we know. So I do think it already is starting to have that impact through BMS and all of that sort of stuff. It's the other elements of AI that are like the predictive maintenance and things like that.
Yeah.
It's still so young. It's and it will be a good few years before there's any substantial information that you can use. I mean, it's like when you go on Google now, people do it and you think, well, that's the same answer that someone else has given me. You're all
Yeah.
using the same thing. Where's the innovation in your own natural thinking? So I do think about that. Common sense is slowly depleting because people don't think for themselves now. They just go
We'll
and
be the last generation with
find the answer somewhere else. But
Yeah.
it's all the same answers are coming back from 5 different avenues. You think, well, that's not initiative thinking.
No, it's not, no.
But I do think AI has a place in society, and I do think it's exciting. Some of it's really exciting, doing like leases and how you can get a load of information from big documents and things like that around FM and real estate and that sort of stuff. I think is interesting. But
Great with contracts.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that saves so much time with contracts.
and I just think, does it replace people? I don't think some people have the confidence yet to take it as it stands, like what you get from some of the chatbots and all that sort of stuff. You think, is that real? I don't know. I need to go and find it out myself. So you still, as a consultant, I still go and find the information. Even though if I use AI for different things, I think, I still need to go and just double check it myself because I'm not
Just to make sure.
confident. Because, I mean, sometimes you get things back and you read it and it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
I had a client recently who sent a list of questions around an implementation of a new building and looking to get some sort of system. And the questions that he sent me, I thought, these questions don't even make sense. And I thought he's just gone to AI and got some information. And
Yeah, there are people out there that'll do it and then not read it.
yeah, and I thought the first question is the same as the last question, but it's just worded slightly different. And I thought, no, that's not natural human thinking. That's some
No, I agree.
machines
Yeah.
spat out different things. So
they do.
it has a place. But for me, I just think we're not quite there in the FM world for maintenance in stuff yet.
I don't know, have you not
Still
seen-
coming. We're still building the database too of knowledge.
Anyone seen the Will Smith film I, Robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a go.
Good film, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Yeah.
Could. Yeah. And it
Like
probably has.
without the machines trying to kill us bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything leading up to that, I think is ideal. But if you look
Yeah.
at I still think people don't agree with me on this, but I think in 5 years' time, we will have robots walking around us doing tasks that people used to do. I truly
think
do,
there's that
because
now,
the
though,
mechanics
isn't
are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason I think this is because there's an old law about computers. I can't remember the name of the law for the life of me. However, computers will existentially get better and better and better. So as one gets better, the next one gets better by 25 million times or whatever. And that keeps stepping up and up. So if you look at the Internet of Things, all right, we're all old enough probably, I think, to remember when we didn't have the internet or it was dial-up connections or anything like that. It took about 25 years from dial-up to get to where we are now. And it is way different now to what it was in like 96, for example, right? AI is going to scale that up hundreds of times. So what we have now, I think, will be very similar to, like, we're at 96. That's where we are with AI. And in 5 years' time, we'll be at 2025 with AI. And I think that's how different the scale up will be. So if you've got like robots that can do all of the movements we do and all of that stuff, as soon as you get to average general intelligence, AGI, which basically means it can mimic our thought patterns, how we do things, and so on and so forth. You stick that inside a robot's brain, call him Dave, say, Dave, Go
Is that
cook me
like a
dinner.
Karen? That's the male version of a Karen.
No, because I call ChatGPT Dave. I don't know why. I just do. He's like Dave. You know what
I
mean?
just know that Dave is the male version of a Karen.
But that to me is not. It's not unthinkable. It really isn't. I genuinely think we will see it within 5 years.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Industrial Revolution, isn't it? Like when you
Yeah.
think back in time,
Yeah.
all of that stuff happened in the space of so many years, like
Yeah.
bridges, metal, trains, blah, 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 all of that stuff.
Yeah.
We're in that environment, but for AI and robots and that right now, aren't we? Where
Yeah.
there's just masses of innovation is happening, and then there'll be a lull and then not much will happen for another 50, 100 years, and then all of a sudden there'll be a, where we're not here anymore.
Well,
The
yeah,
robots
yeah,
are
yeah,
taking
yeah.
over the
Matrix
world.
or something.
Yeah, but there's so many sci-fi movies out there where there's already
Yeah.
robots and they're created and they've got emotions and all of those type of things. So it's already out there. It's
Yeah.
just not.
Well, the first ones will be used for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, it's just not
Let's
available
be
to us
honest.
yet. Yeah.
That's where the innovation will get driven from, isn't it? That's usually what happens with human beings, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Which is crackers. Okay, let's talk a little bit about COVID. And I want to talk about COVID. And the only reason I want to talk about COVID is because I'm a little bit annoyed, guys. Yeah, I've been going to my train station on a morning. If I don't get there before 8:30, I can't get a park. This has not happened for the last 5 years. Right? I can only come to the one conclusion that people have decided going back to the bloody office, which is ruining my car parking capabilities. I've made that funny. It is true, though. I'll probably get a ticket when I get back tonight. But are you seeing a visible increase in people returning to the office now? Yes or no?
I don't think it's as black and white as that. And
Right.
yes, there's almost certainly an uptick in the last year or two, but it's gradual.
Yeah.
And I speak to clients. I was speaking to someone today. I said, "What's your working from home policy?" He's like, "We try and get people in 3 days a week."
Yeah.
And I don't find many who are back to 5 days. I know there are some examples out there in legal or whatever sectors, finance, but for most of our clients in property sector, I would say that they're still operating a hybrid model.
Yeah.
Now that hybrid model might be ramping up rather than come in whenever you like. You need to be in
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever. But I still find it funny. You come into town on a Friday, it's still dead. If you come in on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's almost pre-pandemic levels.
It is, yeah. That's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah.
Because I live in Cheshire, so I commute down every week.
Oh, yeah, you've got no people where you are. You're fine. You never have an issue getting a park.
Oh no! Now I cannot get a park
really?
on a Tuesday morning. I can't get a park, and even on a 6:20 train, the car park is full, and the trains are full. Coming back on a Thursday night is full. The cost of accommodation in London, you come on a Monday night, it's really cheap. Tuesday, Wednesday, through the roof. But it's. I think most of my clients they tend to do like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or Monday to Thursday. Most people work at home on Friday.
Yeah.
Do their admin day at home on a Friday.
Yeah, that's
or whatever.
because Thursday's the new Friday.
Everyone goes for their
reason for
after
people-
drinks on a
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you do
yeah.
notice, I find it's more busy in London now on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
agree.
than it has been. I mean, I loved it in COVID, to be fair. I loved coming into London through COVID. There was no one. You could walk everywhere. It was beautiful. It was,
the city was crazy.
it was lovely. Accommodation was so cheap. You could stay in the best 5-star hotels for like £100. Like,
No, I didn't even think about that.
oh, it was phenomenal. There was no one on the train. It was
The trains,
fantastic.
the trains
It was
I like.
fantastic.
Yeah,
and then
I was getting a seat. My
Yeah.
God, that was lovely, wasn't it?
My travel spend went from several thousand to a few £100 in 2021.
Yeah.
Really?
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they call them the twats, don't they?
They do
Yeah.
the twats, yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So.
But I mean, you might not think this is relevant to a podcast that's trying to entice younger people to join it, but it is because you've got to try and get in, to be fair. But like parking and transport, it is an issue. And even if you look at the cost, if you were to have a season ticket now, the cost of that's just extortionate, isn't it? Like the cost of getting in is so expensive now that people. I don't want to put you off, by the way. I do apologise. But there are factors to it, aren't there? Do you see there being? Because there's more of a drive from business now to actually try and get people back in. They want that community space and so on and so forth. How do you think people can achieve that based on your experience in the industry?
Companies are being more creative.
Yeah.
For sure. I think even simple things like they're offering breakfast, they're offering lunches to staff. So when they get in, they haven't got the bother of having to go out and, sort of seek food and other bits. Also, engagement and sort of activity in buildings tends to take place now between Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you wouldn't bother getting a pop-up on a Friday because you know that it's going to be probably quite quiet in most buildings. So I think people are getting creative with sort of the days that they're doing events and stuff in the building. If they've got, say, yoga, or if they've got someone coming in to sell something, they're doing it between Tuesday and Thursday because they know they're the more popular days.
Right, okay.
But then you do have some people who just actually want to come into London. I think even things like I'm seeing a lot of sort of colleagues doing line biking and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, so I'd see a lot of people doing bits like that to be able to get across, the city and still use the space. And yeah, I mean, running clubs, there's all sorts that's taking place now just to sort of get people.
So it's kind of driving a bit of community cohesion,
exactly.
then, really, isn't it?
Instead of staying home and being alone, working along, maybe come in and, spend at least, maybe do shorter hours. So there's a lot of people that may come in at 10 and leave at 4 because they want to miss the rush. But they're coming in and they're still in the office. So it's I think there's more flexible arrangements now.
But I think it's for the younger people. Like if you look at younger people who work at home, they don't have that social interaction with office etiquette. And I know that to me that's a thing, that there is office etiquette. Like, and if you're working on a project and you're all individually working at home, you don't go to the coffee machine and have a chat about bits and pieces or, that type of stuff. And I think the next generation of young workers, they miss out on so much other things that happen in an organisation because, you'll come on your Teams call, you'll do your Teams call and then you get off and then you crack on with your work. But they're missing that office interaction about, well, what else is happening in the company? What else do I need to do? What's the office etiquette around, that's the governor over there, I need to, bow down and, they're missing out on that. And so it's quite foreign for lots of young people to understand that social way of working in an office environment because they're just at home on their computers, hop on for Teams and then off they go again.
Well, would you argue that work's kind of more following their social parameters though, because that's kind of their social element these days, isn't it? Phones, laptops, iPad. Does that make sense?
It kind of does. Well, I mean, I've got two 20-year-olds. And I know what they're like on their social stuff, but equally I think
I don't think you could say Ella is very similar to other 20-year-olds.
Because
very driven,
but
and very...
It's because we talk to them all the time. And
About
for young people, they're very... got a lot of emotional intelligence already because you talk to them and you teach them things and you think when you speak to someone, you meet someone, you shake their hand, you look them in the eye, those type of things, and you can do whatever you want. You have to go off and get it, the world's your oyster type stuff. So I think if young people have that drive, they can do the social media, but I've got one daughter that likes social media and the other one that she only uses it for work purposes. She doesn't use it socially. She flicks through it, but she's not a constant scroller.
Not like doom scrolling.
No, neither of them are doom scrollers because they've got other interests. But it's about that social aspect where you encourage young people to talk to other people. Like, don't be leaving me a voice note because ring me up.
Yeah, that annoys me.
Just if you're going to take the time to leave me a voice note, I just think ring me up.
So important. And I think you could miss opportunities, like you said, not being in the office,
Yeah.
not having other projects that maybe you could be part of or contribute towards, or someone that can maybe. Many a time I've been in the office having a conversation, and I've said, I need to get hold of this person, or this needs, and then someone else gone, oh yeah, I know that person, let me contact them, or vice versa.
It's about that relationship building again. It comes all
exactly.
back to that, where you get that opportunity to build relationships with people that you work with, and
I also think as well, it's the ability to learn through failure, because if you're in the office on a regular, you're going to mess up sometimes. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to upset someone. These things happen, don't they? And sometimes you don't learn unless you fail, I think.
I think just to pick up on what Debra was saying, if you're a young person who wants to get into FM or any sector really, best bit of advice I could give them is move yourself to London for a few years.
Yeah.
Just be embedded in the culture, which doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the office 5 days. It could be that you're in the office some of the time, most of the time.
Yeah.
But it means you get to go out on a Wednesday night, have a few drinks, mingle with people in your network, in your sector, in a more casual setting. And that's where you learn so much. Well, certainly where I learned so much when I was developing in FM, in procurement.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, because then as well, I suppose you haven't got as far to go to get home. You can be into work the next day and so on and so forth.
And you lose the safety net.
Charlie's like, I remember.
If it's a late night, you miss that last bus. But
Miss
at
that
least
last
you haven't
bus.
got far to go.
Yeah. The Uber home's a bit steep for me these days, guys. I live in Kent now, so
Well, you take that safety net away, and it
Yeah.
forces you into these positions that you might not otherwise be in. It makes you go out and be sociable, because otherwise you're back to, your one-bed studio or something in the outskirts of London. You may as well stay out for a few drinks afterwards or whatever you want to do. Whereas if you've got to catch a train at 6 o'clock because you're 2 hours away, it really makes that
more challenging,
more difficult.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's what a sage piece of advice, actually. I think that's really, really good advice. All right, guys. Well, listen, we've literally got a few minutes left. I bet it didn't feel like only a few. I bet it didn't feel like an hour. Okay, listen, I want you all to just give us a quick introduction about your business before you go. Just tell us who you are, what you do, and where you come from. Sharlene
Rhoden. I'm from London, and my business is around health and safety compliance and property management. My company is called SPR2 Properties, and you can catch me on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I can vouch for Sharlene. She's brilliant.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Debra Watson, and I work for Notice Solutions. We're a consultancy firm for facilities management, doing strategic procurement, contract reviews, CAFM implementations, anything FM related. Basically, we touch base on. Based in the Northwest, but we work predominantly in London for a lot of London side clients. So we do spend quite a lot of time here networking and socialising and out and about in the town, because London is the best city in the world.
It is, without a doubt. And I vouch for Nordis as well. I think you're starting to see a trend here, people.
Darien Jay, I run Vix's Property Advisory. We generally work with corporate real estate clients to procure services where they don't have in-house expertise or time to do it themselves.
Fantastic. And I vouch for Darien as well. Another fantastic business operating
So
within the consultancy sphere. All right, guys, that brings us to the end. How did you find it? Did you enjoy it?
It was good.
Really good.
Did it,
Went
did
quick.
it,
so
It
quick.
did it go quicker than you think?
That went
Yeah.
so quick.
I
Yeah,
told you it would, didn't I?
Yeah.
How long was it until the nerves kind of, and you were all right?
3-4 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, not long.
Yeah.
And then it just became a
I
chat
think
between
once we
friends,
started
didn't it?
talking to each other as well.
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
bit easier.
As soon as you stop talking to me,
Yeah.
it tends to get a bit better, Charlotte. So
Yeah.
that's good. All right, guys. Well, listen. Thank you
you.
ever so much for joining us on the show today, Discovering Consultancy. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. All right, guys. If any of you require any consultancy services, whether it's for your business or you know somebody that needs it, then I know that Sharlene, Debra, and also Darien are all available on LinkedIn. You can reach out to them all individually. But also on that note, if you were looking for some advice, I'm sure that they would be more than happy to potentially mentor you or give you anything that you need. But that brings us to the end of another episode of the Facilities Management Exchange, and a really good one as well. So, as ever, if you can't be good, be bad. Bye-bye.